with our game crashing. Unfortunately, the stream ended. Redoing it right now. I don't know if we forgot to mention it. Forgot to mention this or not in the last stream, but a big shout out to 4J Studios for supporting and sponsoring the stream. No, the league, as we are trying to build our league to become bigger and greater. 4J Studios providing the league that support. Big shout out and thank you to through 4J Studios who are looking at the stream right now or looking back at the stream in the near future. But yeah, big apologies to anyone who wondered what happened there. But yeah.
Johnson, you need to spectate.
Oh yeah.
Can't have you driving around.
Okay.
Just a reminder to all drivers that we have a 5-minute break just before everyone will ready up. I think we have our 5-minute break now. Yeah.
Because it's Saturday, I think I know why Granty Boy is here for the race instead of qualifying. Of course, Granty Boy last year
missed
for 2018, the F1 2018 league. He participated in a different league on Saturdays and missed out qualifying quite a lot of the time, 50% of the time in fact. So he usually misses out the qualifying but participates in the race. That's why we've seen quite a lot of good performances from Granty Boy from the back of the grid in the past. So we can't really count him out.
A lot of the time last year's game as well, he was on the basic setup because he joined midway through qualifying and Park Ferme was on. So you can never really count out Granty Boy.
It's actually quite amazing how he managed to do that. Not even a proper setup. You only change a certain few things with your car setup, apart from the rules on. Because of that, it doesn't enable Granty Boy to exceed the full potential of his car. He can't really be the fastest out there, but he should be able to change his car setup for this race, as we've just reset it. And it hasn't really tracked the qualifying results, but we have the qualifying results ready.
We should see a lot of DRS trains forming in this race because of the long straights. You'll see drivers saving their ERS on the straights and maybe even fuel because they'll have the DRS and slipstream to keep up with the car in front. But that will damage their tyres.
Yeah, expect a lot of battles going on for this race. It's gonna be a good one, I reckon. Good to see Granty Boy fighting through the field, see what Chris can do from P5. Joe on pole position. And Schlee not far behind, who definitely needs to redeem himself for the race at Australia. It's 10 o'clock. And we've not received word of race starting at the moment.
I think we have another 2 minutes just until it starts.
2 minutes until the race will be underway.
We'll see people frantically trying to fill up on fuel and getting their setups ready at the start of the race.
It is 10:01.
What do you think most people's race strategy will be? Do you think we'll see a few 1-stops, few 2-stops?
To be honest, everyone will have to start on their Q2 tyres.
Yeah.
Hopefully, someone should have kept track of that, and we should see them all start on their Q2 tyres. If not, possible penalties being added for the next race, like grid penalties, considering it's a new system for this season.
Yes. You have to
As
feel
we have-
anybody on the hards will go for the 1-stop. The mediums, they leave themselves open to a 1 or 2-stop, depending on which way their race is going.
But yeah, 10:02, 4 drivers ready. Chris not readying yet. We are. Chris
ready.
Spamming the ready up button. We are in for a treat here. We've got 13 drivers. Granny Boy just being added to the roster. With Joe on pole, it is the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Do you have a favourite or who's gonna take victory?
It is, to be honest, you can't really say anything until lap 1 is over. You do not know what's going to happen. It's an unpredictability. Lap 1.
And we are in.
And anyone watching this stream right now, be aware to stay in tune for tomorrow's HR2 race at Bahrain as well. We are running Bahrain instead of Australia being cancelled out for later on in the season due to that
those
server
issues.
bug up. Yeah. So we are on the grid. We do not know if there's going to be a 5-minute wait on the grid or not,
There shouldn't
but we'll
be.
keep track anyway. There should be time allowed people to get their setups ready and prepare their race strategies. And just be aware, anyone readying up before the permitted time is over, only if it's in action at the race, it will result in a grid penalty this time instead of a points deduction at the next race. So it is quite bad for drivers to get the readying up quite early, because doing that can hamper performance on a good track.
Joe needs to get a very good start because he is on those hard tyres, and the people behind him will be a lot faster on those softer compounds.
The thing is, I have talked to Joe before, and one thing he's told me, he's not really the biggest fan of the start of the race, especially the wheel spin he gets. He says about his wheel spin, he gets quite a lot of it. He doesn't really like being in the high airs mode off the launch, and he says that is the reason why he doesn't get the best start. So he uses a lot of airs mode compared to most other drivers that might tend to use the hot lap airs mode at the start to get the best launch. But
Chris
Chris
is
is readied up. We're ready for Bahrain. 7 past 10.
The formation lap will be very crucial for those starting on the hard compound. They need to warm their tyres up a lot more than the rest.
And here's the grid.
And
Formation lap. Just started. There we go. Joe leading away. Everyone on their tyres. Let's quickly see. I'm looking at it.
a lot of weaving down that straight being done.
So Joe on the medium tyres now.
Oh,
No longer on the hard tyres. Schlee on the medium tyres. Jelly staying with the hard tyres that he qualified in Q2 on. Roscoe staying on the hard tyres Q2. Chris, of course, on his medium tyres. Pezza still on the grid.
everybody but Joe still on the same tyre.
And Pezza and HR Daz, I think, might have collided off the start of the formation lap, and this now have to wait on the grid for the rest of the cars to come back up. Pinhead plays on the hard tyres. Mitch, instead of the softs, now on the mediums. Chad is going to be starting on the soft tyres, surprisingly. And Pedro on the medium tyres. Green Fingers on the hard tyres. And Granty Boy right at the back on those hard tyres. We're going to see a very interesting race. Granty Boy winning the race by 1/10 off penalties from Chris at Australia. Chris beating Granty Boy on track.
As Joe lines up on the grid.
Everyone lining up on the grid. Very good race. Joe heading up the field. We just have to wait for the lights. Countdown to 5.
And
let's quickly look. There's 3, 4, 5 lights. They're off.
Schlee.
That's a good start from Joe. He's got a lot of wheel spin. But Jelly's managed to jump Schlee. Schlee is following Jelly behind. He's going to try and go around the outside.
Chris.
And Schlee's going to the back of Jelly.
And I think Chris has lost some front plate as well.
And Jelly skipping across the track. And what's happened to Jelly there? Chris has managed to climb up to P3. Schlee has got nearly no front wing, it looks like.
Chris
Let's
is
see, he has barely anything.
Oh, someone lost more. Schlee lost more front wing.
Schlee's definitely got a pit after that.
Chris
There's no
needs to
front
pit
wing
as
end plate
well.
on both sides, and he's left no room for Chris there. Chris nearly losing positions to the cars behind him, and Jelly getting up into the lead at turn 1, but now down to P2 again. Joe starting to pull away.
Schlee and Chris both miss. Oh, big crash, Chris!
And a big crash at turn 10.
Roscoe.
And that looks like it was HR Daz.
Pinhead has retired.
With him.
Wow.
We don't know. And there goes Greenfingers. He's locked up, and he's knocked off a bit of end plate from Roscoe's front wing. It's been a chaotic start to the race. Pinhead plays out of the race, and it looks like Pinhead
Pedro up
plays
8 positions to
terminal
P3.
damage. Pinhead plays for time with terminal damage. Granty Boy staying at the back. He's got no front wing. This Granty Boy, nearly nothing.
How many drivers will we see go into the pits? Slee, Chris and Granty Boy into the pits.
The top three, the three drivers we thought were going to have a brilliant race, and now they're all in the pits for new front wings at the end of lap 1. It's all been ruined for them. They have to really come back.
Pedro has had an absolutely
Chris,
amazing
Slee,
start.
Granty Boy, they all gone back out. They're all really close to each other now. This is going to be a race at the back. It's going to be like a race for the lead. It's on the opposite side of and there goes Slee, a very, very bit wide on those new soft tyres. And Chris taking it easy on the new hard tyres.
And
Don't know if
Granty
the
on
hards
the
can get
mediums.
to the end or not. Granty Boy on new mediums. And the next car ahead for Slee, 25 seconds up the road, is Granty Boy's teammate Mitch.
I'm very impressed with Pedro off the start. He's up 8 positions to P3.
Pedro, P3, he's 3 seconds ahead of HR Daz, avoiding all the carnage. It looks like, if you look at his front wing, it's completely
fine,
clean, completely undamaged. And Pedro is in a really good position at the moment. P3 after 2 laps.
There is a big train from Daz down to Greenfingers, and Chad is just behind it as well.
And Daz getting an attack. There goes Pezza up the inside. It's a daring move, but Daz gets a better exit, and Pez is now on the threat from Roscoe, who can he get past? Greenfinger, no. Pezza.
Oh, that looked very close.
Roscoe.
Roscoe is missing a bit of front wing, I think.
Just remember, he missed a bit of front wing for 16 laps Australia on the hard tyres, and he still finished P3. He finished ahead of that man right in front of him. And Daz is starting to lose out to Pedro. Pedro starting to pull away. This is absolutely brilliant for him. There goes Jelly. Jelly 1.9 seconds down, 2 seconds down now.
Angelo.
But it's down to the pace of the hard tyres.
Pedro is pulling away from Daz.
Pedro is pulling away from Daz. Daz now 3.7 seconds behind. And Mitch is made up in position on Chad. Chad missing quite a lot of his front wing. He'll have to go up there. Schlee's pulled up 3 seconds on Mitch and Chad on the past lap. And look at this, Granty Boy. He's the man who managed to beat Chris, Australia. Chris doesn't want to give up this position. Chris, though, on the hard tyres. Schlee on the softs and Granty Boy on the mediums. All 3 different compounds. Granty Boy.
Look at this. Granty is
Chris.
Gaining. It looks like he's
Chris is on
pulled back a bit. Doesn't want to
Chris
do
on the
anything
hardest
stupid.
compound. Hardest compound, not the fastest compound. Consider the situation, it might not be the best compound for him.
Joe is almost about to lap these guys at the back. You can see him just in the back of the shot there.
Next car ahead.
Oh wait, that
Joe
was Chad,
is
never
his
mind.
teammate. And Pinhead plays left the session. Unfortunate for him. But at the moment, Jelly's actually caught up to Joe. It's actually not going to be a separate race. It's not going to be a spread out race between these two. It's actually really, really close.
Roscoe and Daz were going side by side there.
Daz team battle. Daz defending from Roscoe. Roscoe right
is
behind
Roscoe missing more front wing now? Well. I think he is. Roscoe's in the pits.
He's coming into the pits.
Oh no. Roscoe, after doing so well in qualifying. Will he... He won't emerge in front of these guys up behind him. Look how close Chris is to Schlee.
And Roscoe's actually going to lose out to all three.
And Chris, he will send it down the inside.
And look at Schlee trying to defend from Chris. Chris is absolutely brilliant attempt at that.
Now Granty
Boy taking advantage of the gap. Chris got DRS. They both have DRS on Schlee. Schlee is really under threat here. Chris trying up the inside.
Granty round the outside.
Granty's got the inside line. He's got the inside line for the corner, but Chris, I think, just held it. That was a brilliant fight there. Chris going a bit wide, might have picked up a warning for that. Roscoe not far behind as well. And just gained a total of 3 attempts.
Pedro now has a 9.7 second gap behind him.
Wait, a 9.7 second... Wait, what?
And look at the gap between Pedro and Daz.
Wow.
Pedro is doing a stunning drive right now.
Pedro.
And he's actually extending the gap on that last lap. Pedro is on for a podium.
Brilliantly. If we look at the fastest laps, Pedro 1:33.9, Daz 1:34.6. And it's the fastest between, let's say, 3rd and 7th at the moment. Between those drivers, Pedro is the quickest out of all of them. At the moment, Pedro is a pit stop ahead of Schlee and Chris and Granty Boy.
If you just look at the incidents for a second, look how many there is already. We have Daz has a 3-second penalty, and that is it.
And Daz, the only one with a penalty, so it's realistically, it is 13 seconds.
I think Daz just may have gotten another penalty. Or it just came up there for me. Yeah, it just came up. Oh,
so let's go back to the battle between these three. Let's go back to the battle between these three as well. You also have Mitch. He's on the back of Green Fingers. He's about to make a move, actually. It's Mitch. And no, he can't make a move doing out to that corner.
Maybe down the straight.
I think we should go back to
Green Fingers has pulled into the pits.
Schlee, Chris and Granty Boy, they are really close to each other. Chris is put on the threat by Granty Boy.
Interesting to see Schlee cannot pull away on those soft tyres because of this DRS train he has behind him.
Granty Boy has got a really good toe. Granty Boy's got a really, really good toe. Look at that. Max Ers down the straight. Chris breaking late, trying to defend the position. Granty Boy getting the switch over. And he's managed to pick up the position just like that. What a brilliant move from Granty Boy.
He's on the back of Schlee now.
Look at that! He's up the inside. He's sending it. And can Schlee defend? Can Schlee keep the position? Granty Boy trying to challenge up the inside, but he can't go that lap. But brilliant stuff from Granty Boy. What absolutely brilliant moves there. Granty Boy still piling the pressure on Schlee as we go through turn 8. And coming down to 9 and 10, this is where DRS activation is. Going over that white line, ready to activate the DRS.
Ooh,
Chris is also prepared to possibly pick up the pieces from Granty Boy's work on Schlee. Here we go. DRS, Maxers.
I think
he's not been running Maxers, actually. Not even one bit of energy being used from Granty Boy,
He must be saving it for the straight.
both Chris and Granty Boy
Oh,
saving it.
Granty, a
And look at
brilliant
that bad
exit.
exit from Slee. Really bad exit from Slee. Good two from Granty Boy, but he can't get it down the straight. Granty Boy now got a lot of energy for
Here
a
we go.
straight. He's into move 4 with DRS. And Granty Boy does absolutely everything in his power to get through. And if all he has to do is brake a bit early to keep the inside line so he can't make the switch back. But Granty Boy and Slee side by side. Granty Boy's still in there. But I think Slee managed to get the DRS on Granty Boy
Down the
going through into
inside.
turn 4. And Granty Boy, he needs a better exit, and he has.
And Slee's
Granty
gonna
Boy
stick it
keeping
round the
it.
outside. And Chris is now in the joining
and Chris
this
is looking
fight.
for it. Chris making the move up the inside. And look at Slee, this is really good. And Chris, side by side. Who's got a better exit though? Slee has, going into turn 9 and 10. But this has benefited Chris because he's now got DRS on Slee with a better exit. And Slee has just lost 2 positions in the last lap, it looks like. If Chris could hold it, Slee trying to hold it, but still around the outside.
But Chris has
But
made the
he is
move
now
down.
lost out to Chris.
Slee's tyres must be going
Chris
off.
is up to P8. And as that was going on, Granty Boys pulled out 1.4 seconds from Chris.
That has really benefited Granty, who's now almost on the back of Mitch, who is
Be
pulling
aware,
into the
as
pits.
Jelly has made a move on Joe. It looks like Joe is lost out to Jelly. And Joe is now to P2. And Joe locking up a bit. It looked like going through into turn 10. And Jelly now in the lead of the Grand Prix. That's a big turnaround for Jelly there. After Australia, not the best start. Picking up the pieces. Now he's leading the race.
Tedjo's still running a
exceptional pace.
good race in third. He has the gap to
Pedro.
11.2 seconds now on Daz.
11.2 second gap between Pedro and Daz. Chris is now, he's back behind Slee. Slee managed to make the move back, it looks like with DRS maybe. But now Chris is about to make the same move
Granty
again.
has a 3-second gap now. Really pulling away.
This is brilliant fighting between Slee and Chris. Meanwhile, Granty Boy just pulling away from
While
this battle.
Slee and Chris are fighting, Roscoe is coming
And
up behind
Joe
them.
in the pits. Joe
Joe
coming
is-
into the pits on a brand new set of medium tyres. Medium tyres. He's on the
Two
2-stop. Is Joe.
Has Joe
He
just
has
thrown away
forced
the lead?
himself on the 2-stop.
He needs to really get his head down and cut through this traffic now.
This might have handed Jelly the race on a plate, or this might
Jelly is on the hard,
handed it
so
back
he
to
will
Joe.
be going for a 1-stop. Maybe Joe
Pedro.
is going for fastest lap.
At the moment, Pedro is 14 seconds ahead of Joe. Effectively, Joe most probably finished this race P2 with fastest lap, which will put him with 19 points. At the moment, it's already early contenders for the fastest lap. Granty Boy, absolutely stunning moves. He's now pulled away to 3 seconds ahead of Slee. And Chris is still on Slee's tail. Slee not getting the best turn 10. But Chris not getting the best run out as well. And Chad's retired from the race. And is that terminal damage or not? There's no yellow flags. There's nothing anywhere. And it is terminal damage.
Do you know where he went off? I didn't see a yellow flag or anything. Pedro now has
big.
12.6 seconds gap behind him. Joe has made a
And
move
Joe-
down the straight on Tezza.
Joe making a move down the straight. Ps4 fighting back.
Fighting
up the
back.
inside.
Ooh.
But Joe's got the better run out, and Joe's going to keep that P4. And is now going to set his sights on Daz, who is not far ahead.
Look how much he gains in that braking zone.
The braking zones are benefiting Joe quite a bit. Having a lot of braking power. Let's go back to Chris though. Chris is right on the back of Schlee. Going up into turn 4. He's going to make a move up the inside. And is he going to get through past Schlee? Schlee can't do anything on the exit of the curb. And look at that.
I think Schlee's tyres are well and truly done. Oh,
and
Chris!
There goes Chris. He's made a bit of a slide going through turn 7. And he's just lost out to Schlee again.
Granty Boy now has a 4.6 seconds.
Look how close these two are. And Schlee getting pressurised now on those soft tyres. Those soft tyres must be absolutely shredded.
Roscoe has gained, and he's now only 2.4 seconds behind these two.
And Joe now ahead of Daz. 12 seconds behind Pedro, who's doing an absolutely brilliant job in P2.
Pedro,
did you even expect that?
Pedro, if he's on a one-stop, could get P2 if he keeps running a strong race, as he will have another 20.
P11. P11, he's up to P2, just like Chris in Australia, taking advantage of what's ahead of him and making up as many positions as possible. And that's what Pedro has done. He's up to P2 now, effectively P3 after stopping.
Chris gaining on Schlee. Don't think he'll have enough
Chris
though.
right on the back of Schlee. Not going to make a move, but he's going to try and make Schlee go wide. He's going to try and pressure him into the mistake. But he can't do it this time around. So he's going to have to try and get him into turn 10. It's the most... It's the hardest corner on the track, turn 10.
Roscoe gaining on these two, by the way. He's now got the gap to 1.7 seconds.
That's a better run for Schlee. It's not going to happen this time round. But the gap's now nearly 6 seconds between Schlee and Granty Boy. Granty Boy's now 6.5 seconds behind Ps4. He's now catching up to this pack of drivers. They have been fighting the whole race. Ps4 and Daz. Daz coming into the pits, and Ps4 just carrying on those mediums, trying to make them last, trying to make them to work longer. And Pedro has been caught up by almost 3 seconds.
Daz is going for the one stop.
And Daz out on the hard tyres, P9, but
Chris definitely better exit here than Schlee.
Yeah, a really good exit from Chris there. Max mode, DRS. It's going to be a really close one going up the inside. And can he hold it this time? And can he not make the mistake through turn 7? And he's going to hold it, but can he hold it for long? Yes, he has. Going through those corners, brilliant stuff from Chris, who's up to P6. But how long for?
I think Schlee's really struggling on those tyres.
The exits that Schlee's been getting haven't been the best. He needs to pit off those tyres.
Roscoe is almost in DRS range now of Schlee.
Schlee and Chris both battling. Roscoe was 7 seconds down the road to these two, and he has been catching up this whole time, which has absolutely been brilliant from Roscoe, and he's on fresher tyres, which makes it even better
Joe
for him.
Just passed out Pedro, who's in the pit. Oh no, Pedro's on a 2-stop. Pedro may have just thrown away his chance of a podium, as Granty's up to P3.
And as Pedro actually chose the 2-stop, no he hasn't, he was on the mediums the whole time.
Yeah, he's on mediums again. No, he literally just pitted.
He's on the hards now.
He's on the mediums for me.
If you go on board, he's on the hard tyres. Pezza in the pits
That's
for the
weird.
soft tyres.
Chris has just gotten a 3-second penalty.
May have been for pit lane infringement, but he's on the soft tyres, better tyres, instead of possibly go for the fastest lap of the race. He's had good pace all round in qualifying. Mitch 2 seconds behind Greenfingers. And this is for the final point. Jelly, 14 laps on these tyres. Lap 15 just started.
You have to
He's
say Jelly
nearing
has
his
this in
pit
the
window.
bag. 24 seconds
Joe,
gap
on
to
the
Joe.
2-stop, it's not going to be good enough for Joe, it looks like, unless he can pull something out of the bag. But
Joe
Jelly
needs to
is
get
definitely secured this.
right up to Jelly right now. Oh
And
yeah.
Jelly's just controlling the race. And Granny Boy up to P3 as Pedro and Pezza have pitted. Daz has pitted.
Oh. The tyres everybody's on is weird for me. It says Schlee is on the soft, but he's on the hard. I thought he was on the soft this entire time.
He is on the softs.
But if you go to race director, it says he's on the hard.
It is weird. It actually is really weird. But at the moment, Jelly been on these hards for quite a long time. Joe on mediums for the 2-stop. Ranty Boy on the mediums. Pedro on the hards.
Right behind
Chris on the
Pedro.
hards. Schlee on the hards. Roscoe on the mediums. Daz on the hards. Pezza is now on the soft tyres, going for the fastest lap. Greenfingers on the mediums, and Mitch on the hard.
Chris has just passed Pedro.
So it looks like Schlee on his red striped hard tyres is going to try and overtake Pedro.
Joe is only lapping 1/10 quicker than Jelly, who's on 16 lap old hards.
The problem is for Schlee will have to stop again. He's not going to get to the end on those soft hard tyres. And there goes Schlee trying to go at the inside. He can't make it move. He can't make it stick. Just have to wait again. But Chris, he's already made the move. He
dropped back a lot.
He's only 2.67 seconds down the road.
He was 1 second behind them, like at least 2 laps ago.
Let's just see this. Granny Boy catching up with Joe on all tyres. Joe, meanwhile, is trying to push to catch up to Jelly,
which is not working
24
out for him.
seconds still. Jelly on 16 laps
is very good.
Hard
Jelly's
tyres.
still setting personal bests.
Let's quickly look. Fastest laps of the race. Joe on 1:31.8. The fastest lap of the race. Granny Boy on 1:32.0 on those medium tyres he currently is on at the moment. With Jelly with a 1:32.5, but he's keeping really good consistent pace throughout this race. And Schlee is managed to get past Pedro finally.
If Pedro can just stick with these guys, he's on for a very good race finish.
At the moment,
Granty's still
the realistic
8
gap,
seconds behind.
at the moment, it's about 10 seconds between Pedro and Granty Boy. And the amount of time you need for a pit stop is 24
Yellow flag
seconds.
in sector 1.
And it's
Pedro.
Pedro.
Yeah.
And Pedro looks like he might have spun out of turn 1, but he's only lost about 4 seconds from that. He might have broke late, he might have spun, we do not know.
So Roscoe, Schlee, Chris, Granty, Joe have to pit. Same with Jelly. Pedro does not have to pit. Same with Daz.
If Roscoe can make these medium tyres last.
Schlee drifting through the corner.
Schlee losing it through turn 10. And now Roscoe right on the back of him actually. Roscoe, if he can make these tyres last till the end of this race, that would be incredible. At the moment, he's done 12 laps on the mediums.
I think everyone from Joe down to Pedro, down to Roscoe, has to pit again.
If we look, as Joe is now 23 seconds behind, he's actually catching up. And if we look at stops, everyone has stopped at the moment apart from Jelly. And Chris has got past Granty Boy. Granty Boy in the pits for the medium compound tyres. Now, what do we see now? Does Pedro lose out or not? And we just heard our answer right now. Pedro is now quite far ahead of Granty Boy.
Roughly around 6 seconds.
Granty Boy going to turn 1 as soon as Pedro crosses the DRS zone. And let's see, as soon as Granty Boy comes into the view, goes into turn 4, Roscoe right on the back of him.
Schlee running wide.
Very, very old hard tyres for Schlee. Going on into turn 10. He's gone a bit wide. He's not going to have the best run out. And here comes Roscoe on the highest airs mode. He's going to try and go for the move. On the inside, maybe. But he's
just about doesn't get it.
He does not want to risk his front wing. He does not want to risk his strategy. And then Schlee! Schlee's lost it. Going through turn.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I was just about to comment saying Chris is starting to lose traction out of these corners. He's flipping and sliding through every corner.
Schlee needs a new front wing now, it looks like. There's Pedro, P6. He needs to get past Schlee.
Pedro has retired. I don't know what happened there. Oh, Pedro has crashed in the same place as Schlee.
And Pedro. And here we go, right on board with Mitch. Let's see, and there is Pez's car.
Now, Schlee is onto the medium compound tyre.
A very long stop for Schlee, unfortunately. P8 now.
Joe has started to turn to P9 on Jelly.
Green Fingers will have to pit again though. But Schlee P8. And here's Granty Boy behind Daz. And Daz is only 2 seconds behind Pedro.
Jelly has been on these tyres for 20 laps. That is crazy. Jelly is probably going to go for the soft at the end of the race.
And look at that. Brilliant move from Granty Boy around the outside of turn 10. Very daring move from Granty Boy there. To P6. And now only 2.7 seconds away from Pedro. And this is pretty much the battle for the podium.
Just picked up a penalty.
This is the battle for the podium unless Chris makes a hard lap.
Into the pit.
But he's coming in.
Now, is that the soft tyre for Chris? It is.
And here comes Roscoe as well. And that is the soft tyres. I predicted cool there. Chris is going to be the fastest man out on track. Guaranteed.
Now, will Jelly come into the pits this lap for soft tyres as well? Or will he try push these hards a bit more?
Well, here comes Schlee. Schlee is going to come around the final corner while Roscoe meets up with turn 1. So Schlee has to really push to even get a chance. Try and catch back up to Roscoe to try and secure good points after losing out on Australia.
Let's see. And Jelly is into the pits. 20 laps on those hard tyres Jelly has done.
The battle for the podium is now on. Pedro versus Granny Boy. Granny Boy, he's got a better exit. He's on the higher ERS mode. Pedro on the ERS mode 1. He's saving
And
his energy.
Joe is into the pits as well.
And there you go. Granny Boy now on the podium. Pedro holding P3 basically for 20 laps. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Pedro, but
Granty will have to pit, will he not?
To Granty Boy.
Or is Granty already pitted? Oh yeah, he has. Granty's pitted it already.
Yeah, starting on the hard tyres, going to the mediums, and another set of mediums. He's going to the end of the race on. Joe on the soft tyres, Jelly on the soft tyres as well.
Yes, Jelly has well and truly won this race. If he can keep this on track, it will be... Joe needs to really push if he wants to have any chance
Pedro,
of recovering this.
If you look at Pedro, trying to stay with Granny Boy at the moment, but he can't. Granny Boy on newer and softer tyres than Pedro's 7 laps old hard
Chris
tyres.
could easily get this P4. Look how much he's gaining on Daz. And then...
Yeah, look at Daz's tyres as well. 8 laps old hards.
It has been a great recovery drive from Granty and Chris. Schlee sadly crashing.
Schlee, he was doing well, but that incident at turn 12 really cost him almost 10 seconds alone in the pits.
Don't forget about Roscoe. He also had to pish for a new front wing at the start of the race.
Roscoe doing alright in P7. Schlee retiring in Australia in P9 here in Bahrain. It's not really the best, but he's about to take P8 from Greenfingers.
Chris Brick gaining so much in that second sector. He's
and there's Chris making a move down into the final corner, and that's going to be P5 for Chris there. And now Pedro only 4.5 seconds up the road for Chris. Chris, all he needs to do now is just keep on pushing. He'll be able to get P4. Pedro looks like P5 should be in the bag for him.
A brilliant race for Pedro. I don't think he'll be upset about P5 at all.
At the moment, the driver of the day is quite spread across through quite a few drivers. And just to list a few, Jelly being one absolutely stunning race at the moment. 16.5 seconds ahead of Joe. Up the road, doing brilliantly. Granty Boy started in P13, up into 3rd. And having to pit on the first lap for a new front wing. And he's been pulling off the best moves of the race. Pedro, 3 seconds ahead of Chris. P3 for most of the race, doing a brilliant job, starting P11. And he is looking good for it as well. Chris also doing a very, very good recovery drive after the first lap instance. And also, it looks like Roscoe is now catching up to Daz. Schlee not having the best race that he wanted.
After that incident, he was running well, but just got too much up on the curb, we think, and he lost the car.
Where is Schlee's teammate?
He has retired.
It looks like he's out.
A good point finish for Daz and Roscoe for the constructors.
There's no on-track battle at the moment, but
Chris is rapidly catching Pedro.
It is going to be a good finish for Daz and Roscoe, but Roscoe is catching up to his teammate.
But I don't think it will be enough. I think Daz might finish ahead of him. Roscoe.
It depends. What's good for the championship at the moment?
Start going off near the end of this stint.
Granty
That's the
boy.
thing with the softs. They will drop off a cliff after a certain stage.
And look at Jelly, man. Jelly is really pulled away from Joe by
By
quite a
2
bit.
seconds.
And we've got the fastest lap. Jelly's got the fastest lap by just under a tenth from
Joe has
Joe.
really messed up on this 2-stop.
It's not just Jelly going to be getting fastest lap and the race win, but also he might possibly pick up driver of the day and might take maximum points.
Granty is catching Joe at this stage in the race.
Or it could be Granny Boy who might win the vote, but 15 points at the moment. He will hold the lead in the championship going into China, which will be next Friday.
It has been a really good race by Jelly. Made all the right calls when it came to pit stop, avoided the carnage on lap 1.
And Jelly, let's start lap 25, 5 laps to go this race.
Joe's pace has just disappeared during the race as it went on. Chris is just catching Pedro, but Pedro is still going.
Pedro's still holding his own, gone a bit wide through the final corner.
Chris has gone a really nice run.
Chris now under the 1 second barrier, the magical 1 second barrier that he needs, but he might not even need the RS at this rate. Chris going for it, he's not going to get the inside line braking, but he's going to possibly get the switchback. He's going to get the better line for the next straight. He's going to have DRS, more energy, and
Pedro just lets him through. Interesting by Pedro.
Leaving the track there. Very strange from Pedro. He's still 7 seconds ahead of Daz. He's going to maintain P5. Surely.
Will Pedro have good enough pace to keep with Chris as his tyres go off? That will be the interesting thing to witness.
It doesn't seem like it at the moment. Chris
already almost 2 seconds ahead.
He's on the softest compound, Chris is, which is he's done half the amount of laps on that compound, and Pedro has done on his hard tyres the hardest compound.
Roscoe has made the move on Daz, by the way.
And Roscoe has made the move on Daz. Then, so Roscoe up to P6. He is going to have a really, really good championship position, hopefully maintaining P3. 15 points in Australia. He's going to pick up 8 points here in Bahrain. And with those 8 points, he should be on 23 points. And there goes Roscoe.
Granty is gaining on Joe again. And Jelly is keeping the gap to Joe behind.
Jelly, absolutely brilliant race here at Bahrain. Absolutely brilliant driving. Absolutely controlled all the way through from lap 1 all the way to lap 26 at the moment. Making an early move on Joe. Managing to control the race from there, control the one-stop strategy. Joe going on to the two-stopper as a way to try and get by, but it couldn't bypass.
It did not work out for him.
Chris going to take 4th place, which should keep him P2 in the Drivers' Championship, behind Granty Boy.
Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. Roscoe has crashed.
Roscoe.
He
Roscoe
has.
spinning at turn 12.
That's
And once again, another driver falling victim to that corner.
curb.
That curve is treacherous, and Roscoe's just found out because he's actually fallen behind Schlee as well. He's lost 2 positions from that single spin. And that is not going to do well for Roscoe. It will do well for Schlee though, climbing up the positions now. Daz is within sights, but can he get him in time? It doesn't look like it at the moment. Roscoe. Can Roscoe actually possibly catch up to Schlee?
Did he lose any front wing? Roscoe did not lose any front wing. That is interesting.
If we look up the field, Granty Boy catching up to Joe on older and harder tyres to Joe's. Joe 19.5 seconds behind Jelly.
Joe had no pace on these softs.
And there is the interval gap. 7.771 seconds behind Joe is Granty Boy. And Granty Boy keeps on gaining.
Up 10 positions, Granty Boy, from the start.
But we haven't done this yet. We haven't considered the penalties at the moment. Daz, 3-second penalty. Granty Boy, a 3-second penalty. And also Chad having a 3-second penalty but out of the race. Chris, a 3-second penalty. And Roscoe, a 3-second penalty.
Pedro also has a 3-second penalty.
It shouldn't affect any positions. But because of Daz's penalty, Schlee might be able to actually pick up P6.
Schlee needs to gain a second on these final 2 laps.
There's Jelly, his penultimate run down the back straight.
And I believe Schlee has only gotten 1 penalty on all of last year. So, you know he won't be getting much this season.
And Jelly putting another fastest lap in, and he's about to start his final lap.
It has been a great race by Jelly. Granty now 6.5 seconds back from Joe.
No on-track battle. Roscoe actually getting close to Schlee, really close to Schlee. Consider the final lap.
Schlee not catching Daz.
Roscoe has not got the chance though to get past Schlee and build a 3-second gap. I don't think he can. Roscoe having the 3-second penalty. Schlee just got only 1 warning the whole race. Let's quickly look. Pedro at the moment 5 seconds behind Chris. He hasn't lost too much. And Jelly though is coming down the back straight for the
yellow flag in sector 2. And Chris has spun.
That is Chris. Chris has spun. And Pedro goes up to P4. And what has happened to Chris there? But Jelly
has won the race.
And he's absolutely smashed it out of the park here in Bahrain. And takes absolutely maximum points. And as we look at that fastest lap from Jelly there, a full 10th ahead of Joe's fastest lap.
Finish
Joe
P2.
about to cross the line for P2 in his first race of the season.
Granty P3
P3 from 13th on the grid.
And crashed on the first lap.
And Chris got a 5-second penalty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pedro, what a race he has had.
Daz is going to gain.
Roscoe has retired.
And Roscoe retiring on the final lap, but he's going to maintain P8. Daz is going to get P5. in the end, no, he's not. We thought he was, but and then Schlee goes to P6 in the end, and P5 actually to Schlee. But what a race! Very, very good race indeed.
What a race from Granty. He had such a great recovery drive. Same with Chris
Right,
and Schlee.
Ryan to go P3. Like that, absolutely brilliant race there. As we will invite the drivers from that race to the party, post-race interviews shortly after.
We need to figure out what happened on lap 1.
It was absolutely stellar race.
If we look at the incidents, it looks like Schlee crashed with Jelly at the start. Jelly clashed with Schlee. Chris clashed with Joe. Then we have Daz crashed with Pezza. Schlee crashed with Jelly again. Then Pinhead just retired, but Chad got a collision with Pinhead.
We also have, hold on, we'll have to invite Jelly as well.
Good evening.
And hello, Joe.
Hi, Grant.
Alright, guys.
What a brilliant race. Especially between you, Granty, Schlee and Chris right at the back.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't for much, but still.
Yeah, I know. I definitely had wing damage on the first turn. I think a couple of breakings could have been a bit better, but it's just it is what it is on first turns, isn't it? Like on first lap. But yeah.
It's an absolutely great recovery drive from you, Granny, as well.
Yeah, cheers,
13th
mate.
on the grid. Taking wing damage on lap 1, 2 sets of two sets of mediums, getting you through 28 laps there, and recovering to P3, and you were actually catching Joe. You were getting really close, coming towards the end of the race.
A bit too close.
I don't know whether Joe was doing it just because like he could, but I had like a penalty anyway, so whether or doubt if I got close to him, I would have had to make a 3-6
The fact was, I thought I had a penalty as well, so I was afraid as hell.
I kept checking, mate, and you didn't have like a penalty, so I was just like, yeah, he's got this. Like, even if I did catch up, but I knew I was gaining, so I knew I had.
Yeah,
the
you know
pace.
what the fun thing was? I got a call just before the race started, so I didn't hear my engine at all because I had my mic plugged into my phone, so I didn't hear the engine all race, and I heard Rob's TV. And it said, you have a 5-second penalty for that collision. And 5 seconds before that collision, I collided with Jelly. So I was like, oh shit, did I get a penalty? So, yeah.
It was a really good race between you and Jelly right at the start, and then Jelly managed to get past you, and then after your first stop, you determined you were on the 2-stop strategy. After something,
Yeah, mate, I broke my front wing. I broke too late at that corner, so I hit Jelly. And simulation damage be like, yeah, frick you, I'm gonna give you a red front left. So
from after that though, Jelly just completely incredible. I don't know what to say from that. 21 seconds at the line, 1-stop strategy, fastest lap of the race, a maximum 26 points.
Had to be done after last week, or Friday, shall I say?
It definitely makes up for Australia. And to be honest, if someone can name me anything that went wrong for your race, I'll give them £1 million.
Just literally a start.
That was flawless.
when I got pushed wide and then I had to cut the corner, but that was it.
Jelly, did you see who hit me up the ass?
No.
Oh, I got a shunt in the back. That's why you went right. That's why you went wide.
No,
Yeah,
it's
there's a lot
thing.
of
It
wheel
was just
spin
that
you had.
strategy. Those hard tyres felt amazing. Even up until I pitted, I could have probably gone a little bit longer, but they're on like 85%, so I didn't want to get a flat tyre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fricked up
From
the
then on.
strategy as well. I selected hards to softs, and it gave me super softs or mediums. I was like, what the?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a few issues with a few drivers on their tyres.
Yeah.
Compounds on what they was meant to start off with, so it wasn't just you.
I qualified on
I was
hards, I think.
spectating the race.
I qualified on
I was-
hards as well.
No, I was
Yeah.
spectating the race and I saw Schlee on my screen was on the soft tyres, even though it said it was on the hards. And in fact, it was on the hards the whole race, pretty much, from the lap
So the
2
great
and Pedro.
Loved it.
To lap 20, and Granty Boy managing to catch you up on his medium tyres. Managed to pass you, which was a bit unfortunate, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
well done,
well,
mate. You done
it
well.
was absolutely brilliant. P4, it was actually brilliant watching you race out there. It was actually pulling away from Daz right at the start, up to 11 seconds at the start. Yeah, you had front wing damage and
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed or not, Pedro, that Chris, Granty Boy and literally all at the back at lap 1, all 20 seconds behind the last leading cars.
It's my bro.
This is it.
Sorry, Pedro.
I was talking to Rob as well, man. Ryan starting from the back. I said he's gonna win. He's gonna do it again. Because you are one hell of a driver in recovery drives, bro.
I won't let that happen. Can't win 2 races in a row. No fuck that.
Nah. Nah, that's true. That's true. I thought you laid out this
Also,
one,
mix, bro.
I felt good.
Also, actually,
Shit, I wish I'd done that on SNRS earlier.
Yeah,
it's quite
mate,
a quiet
yeah.
race from Mitch, considering all that. But
Yeah, I think Mitch done really well in this race, to be honest. Even though he never really gets any points, and you know today he really showed that he can prove himself
Yeah.
to get points, and he got 9th. So I'm really happy for him.
Bro, I
a
saw you.
teammate.
Yeah,
I saw
he had
Mitch
a quiet
third in
race, but-
Q2. I was happy. I was happy.
Yeah.
Mitch was third. What the what? And then I heard Jensen on stream. He's like, he's 1/10 off of Joe's time, and I was like, no way, he's gonna do it. It's gonna be Mitch's race. Come on, Mitch. Boom, straight in.
yeah,
Fair
Well,
play, mate.
it wasn't a bad drive from you at all. Ninth place, but to be fair, you drive consistently, more than aggressively, and that gets you constant points finishes each race.
One thing, we didn't even lap Mitch.
That is very true. That is very true. Oh.
Doesn't matter. You only got a lap by
Well,
one.
Yeah. Lap by
we'll
one
have to do
card.
this
Your
we're gonna have to
performance
do
is
this
getting
quick.
better, mate. Definitely.
because I'll have to go now. So, Mike, if you're there,
Yeah.
time to decide the driver of the day.
I think
This is a big
Granty.
one. like 3 people in mind. These 3 people, Granty Boy, Jelly, and Pedro. All 3 deserving, but we have to pick one.
My vote goes to Grant from the back of the grid with front wing damage to 3rd.
Is it difficult?
That's my vote.
Yeah, definitely got to be Grant, innit?
Granty after pitting on lap 1 to get to P3.
After that,
GG's.
he
GG's,
didn't have
Grant.
the softest tyres on at all the whole race. I mean, he was probably one of the quickest drivers out there.
Thanks.
Well,
man.
yeah, if you wouldn't have been.
So yeah.
Yeah,
So
anyways,
driver
guys,
of the
I'm
day
shooting
then,
as well.
Granty Boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Well
man.
done, Grant.
Deservable of
So,
that.
hey,
Race. GG's.
See you later. Goodbye.
Well done,
See you
mate.
later.
Bye.
I will get
Thumbs
you
up.
next time.
Au revoir.
So, yeah. Join it next Friday. The next stream should be tomorrow night, HR2. Don't miss out on that. And also a big shout out to 4J Studios once again. All this wouldn't be possible. Sorry.
You look like you was putting off a good sentence there, mate, and then it cut out.
Sorry. Yeah. All
Yeah,
Okay.
well done, guys.
Well, as I was saying, all this support wouldn't be possible without 4J Studio support. And a big shout out to them and everyone that from 4J Studios watching on. Thank you, and everyone else watching the stream. I hope everyone just enjoyed that race. That was just a brilliant race, to be honest. I love that race. I think. Mike, did you like that race?
Yeah, it was very exciting all race. You didn't know where anyone was really going to finish.
So yeah,
Except for Jelly, obviously.
it's till tomorrow then. And me and Mike will be racing.